Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I have to admit, when General Hospital finally decided to answer the mystery surrounding Scott Baldwin, I felt like one of those longtime viewers who has been waiting patiently in the corner saying, all right, GH, I know you haven't forgotten about him, right? Because after years of watching Port Charles go through endless betrayals, shocking returns, family secrets, and dangerous situations, there's something really satisfying when the show finally goes back and closes a story that has been sitting there for so long. The big question that has been hanging around for 2 years was simple but frustrating. Where in the world was Scotty Baldwin? And for a character like Scott, that absence really stood out to me. He is not just some random person who walks through Port Charles and disappears without anyone noticing. Scotty has history. He has friendships, enemies, old wounds, and a personality that has been part of the heart of General Hospital for decades. So when he suddenly went missing, I always felt there had to be more behind it. I've always enjoyed watching Scotty because he brings something different to the show. He's not the toughest guy in the room. He's not always the smartest person in the room. And he definitely doesn't always make the perfect choice. But honestly, that is what makes him entertaining. He feels like a real person. He's the kind of guy who can get himself into a mess, panic for a minute, complain about how unfair life is, and then somehow find a way to keep moving forward. And that's exactly what happened the last time we saw him. Scott's final appearance before his disappearance was on the 16th of August, 2024 episode, and his storyline was already surrounded by danger. He was involved with the pharmacist who had tampered with Sonny Corinthos's bipolar medication, and that alone was a serious situation. When you're dealing with Sonny, Jason Morgan, the mob, and a dangerous secret involving someone's health, you already know things are about to get complicated. What I found interesting about Scotty's last scenes was that he wasn't trying to play the hero. He wasn't walking into danger thinking he could control everything. He was simply trying to survive. He was helping with an escape plan to Spoon Island, and in true Scotty fashion, he went to get snacks before leaving. Now, I know that sounds like a small thing, but those little moments are exactly why longtime viewers connect with characters like him. Even when everything around him is falling apart, Scotty is still thinking about something as normal as grabbing food for the road. That little detail actually made me smile because it reminded me of the kind of storytelling General Hospital used to do so well. Not every moment has to be about explosions, revenge, or someone holding a secret file. Sometimes it's a character grabbing a bag of snacks while the entire world is collapsing around him. Those human moments are what make the drama feel believable. But of course, Scotty couldn't just have a peaceful escape. This is Port Charles we're talking about. Peaceful exits are almost impossible here. When Scotty returned to the warehouse, he discovered that Jason Morgan had arrived and was looking around. Now, if there's one thing we all know about Jason, it's that he has a way of appearing at exactly the wrong time for people trying to hide something. The second Scotty realized Jason was there, he knew the situation had changed. He dropped his bag of snacks and ran. And honestly, I don't blame him one bit. Sometimes survival is about knowing when you are outmatched. Jason is not someone you casually hide from, especially when he is searching for answers. After that moment, Scotty did the responsible thing. He contacted FBI agent John Cates and Ava Jerome to let them know that Jason had found him and the pharmacist. He made sure people knew what was happening, and then suddenly he disappeared from the story completely. And that is where the frustration began for fans. For 2 years, there was no real explanation, no updates, no mention of where Scotty went, no clue if he was safe, hiding, trapped, or dealing with something completely different. It was one of those mysteries that stayed in the background while Port Charles continued moving forward with other dramatic storylines. As a viewer, I think those unanswered questions can be both exciting and frustrating. On one hand, they make you curious. You start wondering what happened to him. Is he coming back? Is there some bigger secret waiting to be revealed? But on the other hand, when too much time passes, fans start worrying that the story may never get finished. That's why I appreciate that General Hospital finally decided to revisit this storyline. It shows respect for the viewers who have been paying attention and remembering these details. A lot of shows introduce mysteries and then move on, but GH has always had a special ability to bring old stories back when the timing feels right. For me, Scotty's disappearance was never just about finding out where he went. It was about seeing a familiar face return to the spotlight. After all these years, characters like Scott Baldwin represent the history of Port Charles. They remind us of the friendships, rivalries, and emotional moments that built this show. There's something special about watching a character from the past step back into the story. It almost feels like opening an old photo album and seeing someone you haven't heard from in years. You immediately start asking questions. What have they been through? How have they changed? What secrets are they bringing back with them? And knowing Scotty, I don't think his return will be quiet. This is a man who has always found himself connected to complicated situations. Wherever he has been for the past 2 years, I have a feeling there is a story behind it. There is probably something we don't know yet, and knowing General Hospital, that missing time could become another doorway to more drama, more surprises, and maybe even a few emotional moments. That's what keeps me coming back to Port Charles after all these years. And it's not just about the shocking twists. It's about these characters who feel like old friends. Sometimes they disappear, sometimes they come back, but when they do, it feels like the story is finally putting another missing piece back into place. And with Scotty Baldwin finally back in the conversation, I'm excited to see what comes next, because in General Hospital, one thing is always true: the past is never really gone. It's just waiting for the right moment to return. What really caught my attention was the little update we finally received about Scotty Baldwin. After all the questions, all the waiting, and all the wondering where he disappeared to, General Hospital gave fans a small but very interesting clue through someone who knows him better than almost anyone: his daughter, Serena Baldwin. When Serena returned to Port Charles, I have to admit I immediately started wondering if this was more than just a simple family visit. In soap operas, especially General Hospital, timing is everything. A familiar face comes back, an old name gets mentioned, and suddenly you start thinking, okay, something is coming. That's just how this show works. And longtime viewers like me know not to ignore those little details. Serena's reunion with Lucy Coe and Aunt Felicia Scorpio at the Metro Court patio was a nice reminder of the connections Scotty has built over the years. These aren't just random friendships. These are people who have shared history, memories, and plenty of Port Charles drama together. Seeing Serena back with them almost felt like opening a door to the past. And naturally, the conversation turned toward the one person fans have been waiting to hear about: Scotty. When Felicia asked how Scotty was doing, Serena's answer actually made me smile. She explained that her dad was living his best life in Key West, enjoying kayaking and searching for the best key lime pie. Now, I have to say, that sounds exactly like the kind of update that fits Scotty. After years of legal battles, emotional chaos, and getting caught up in dangerous situations, maybe the man finally decided he needed some sunshine, peace, and a little adventure. And honestly, I love that General Hospital gave us this kind of detail instead of just saying, oh, Scotty is fine. That small piece of information made him feel alive again. I could picture him somewhere in Florida, enjoying the water, relaxing, and probably still finding a way to get himself involved in some kind of trouble because, well, that's just who Scotty Baldwin is. Of course, longtime fans also know that this little update comes with a big question. Could Scotty actually return to Port Charles now that Serena is back? I certainly wouldn't rule it out. In the world of General Hospital, characters have a funny habit of showing up exactly when we least expect them. One minute, someone is living a quiet life somewhere far away, and the next minute they walk through the doors of the Metro Court or General Hospital with a secret, a problem, or an emotional reason to come home. I also think it would make a lot of sense for Scotty to return. His daughter is back, old friends are around, and there are plenty of unfinished connections waiting for him. Port Charles has changed so much, and bringing Scotty back would give fans a chance to see how he fits into this new version of the town. For me, part of the excitement comes from seeing a character like Scotty interact with today's Port Charles residents. He has always had a unique personality, a little stubborn, a little dramatic, but also full of heart. I can already imagine the kind of energy he would bring back. He wouldn't just show up quietly and sit in the background. Scotty has always been someone who speaks his mind and jumps right into the middle of whatever chaos is happening. And let's not forget the history behind the character. Ken Schreiner first stepped into the role of Scott Baldwin in 1977 and has played Scotty on and off for decades. That kind of history matters. Characters like Scotty are part of the foundation of General Hospital. They carry memories from different eras of the show, and when they return, they bring a piece of that history with them. I think that's why fans are still so interested in him after all this time. It's not just about seeing a familiar actor come back. It's about reconnecting with a character who has been part of Port Charles for generations. Many viewers have grown up watching Scotty's story, and seeing him return would feel like welcoming an old friend back home. So, while Serena's update may have been short, I believe it opened a very interesting door. Maybe Scotty is truly enjoying his peaceful life in Key West, or maybe he's just waiting for the right moment to paddle his way back into Port Charles. And knowing General Hospital, that moment could come sooner than we think. Because one thing I've learned after watching this show for years is that nobody is ever really gone. Sometimes they're just off somewhere, enjoying a slice of key lime pie, waiting for the perfect time to come back and shake things up again. And if Scotty Baldwin does return, I have a feeling Port Charles will not be the same.